Just super quick before we start, this episode is recorded over Microsoft Teams. With the whole current crisis, we couldn't really meet up and record, so there are a few issues. I tried to fix them as best I can, but there are a few times where the audio does get a bit choppy, just where the internet drops out. It's not too bad, and it only lasts like a second or two in most places, so just bear with it, and hopefully in future, me and Jane can record another episode in person and be much higher quality. Anyway, on to the episode. Hello and welcome to the Rambling Movie Club, where each episode we try and talk about different movies and hopefully find some new ones. This episode is all about the movie Hercules, the original Disney one, not the live action one with The Rock. And I am joined by a Hercules expert, Jen Laws.
Hello.
Jen, if you had to guess, now I know this would be very difficult, if you had to guess, how many times would you say you've watched this movie?
I normally watch it at least once a week, so I don't know. Thousands and thousands, possibly. Yeah, I went through a phase at uni where I think I watched it 13 times in 1 week.
I remember you used to watch it like 3 times a day.
Oh, when they took it off Netflix, I had a period of mourning until somebody bought me a DVD.
That period of mourning, by the way, was about an hour, in which time she was trying to buy a lunchbox with Hercules on it.
It'd have been fine if the shipping fee wasn't like €200 or whatever it was. It's coming from somewhere really weird.
Why do you like this movie so much?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest, because I do think there possibly are better Disney films out there, but I just love this film so much. Yeah, I love the music, I think.
Okay, do you just relate to Pegasus as well?
I am a flying horse, so yeah.
Okay, and this is probably the toughest question. Which is your favourite song?
Go the Distance. I like it at the start when the song's playing and it's just the music, and then it shows you Mount Olympus. It's like the favourite bit of the film, and I don't know why, because it is literally just the title credit, but it makes me all happy.
Okay, so if you haven't seen Hercules, you're clearly missing out on life. But basically, Hercules is like 1998, I think it came out. And it's the story of Hercules, who's the son of Zeus, and he basically has to try and become a god so he can live with his parents. And basically, yeah, it's an animated movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It's on Disney Plus if you have that. And yeah, I feel like this is most people our age's childhood.
Yeah, I think it is. I think most people have probably seen it.
I think I watched this in the cinema.
I'm very jealous of you.
It's okay. When time travel's invented, you can go back and watch it.
I'll be that freak that doesn't leave the cinema, and I'll be like, I see you've come for the 28th time this week.
So anyway, on to the movie. We start off with the Muses introducing the world of the gods. Apparently, the Muses were originally going to be played by the Spice Girls, but they couldn't fit it into their busy schedule.
I don't think I'd have liked the Spice Girls to have been the Muses.
What, you didn't want Jerry Halliwell being like, I'll tell you what you want?
Yeah, because that is not what I really, really want. Plus, Posh Spice would have had to have sang, which I think would have been detrimental for her too.
Maybe she could have been the silent muse.
Yeah, she'll just design the costumes.
Then we see the gods show up to celebrate Hercules being born. I love the line of, haven't seen so much love in a room since Narcissus discovered himself.
My favourite line from that bit is when Hades comes in and is like, is this a mosaic? I think it's quite funny. I didn't really give that a very good impression then. That was a really terrible Hades impression.
I think it was a spot-on Hades impression. It was very cringy.
Absolutely not.
I also love the bit of Zeus making Hercules a present at the last minute, and I feel like this is such a dad thing to do.
Oh, 100%. And the clouds as well, the actual clouds that he put together for Pegasus, and I'm obviously not a cloud expert, but each of the clouds sort of represent the different bits of the Pegasus and how he can like fly, and I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's good I got you on for this movie episode. You're clearly the Hercules expert.
I've just watched it too many times.
So then, yeah, we see Hades shows up and basically gets bullied by everyone and goes back to the underworld. He meets up with the Muses. There's another great line of indoor plumbing. It's going to be huge.
They're not the Muses.
Oh, sorry, not the Muses.
Fate.
Right, sorry. That was me writing my notes poorly and getting confused.
I'd put you on a 2-minute friendship ban, but that'd be the longest 2 minutes in podcast history.
Also, I don't think you could cope for 2 minutes.
No, absolutely not.
Hades then finds out that Hercules is going to mess up his whole takeover, so he tries to kill him. Panic and Pain mess it up and almost make him not a god, but not quite.
Solution that they give him, I was reading this earlier. It's a potion called Grecian Formula, which is a real life hair product that's used to colour grey in hair. Essentially, they gave him hair dye.
So that's how you turn a god human, is feed them hair dye.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is apparently Pain and Panic are the minions of Ares in Greek mythology, and their names actually come from the Roman words Phobos and Deimos, which is the same as Mars's moons, since Mars is the Roman name for Ares.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
So, well, the one problem with this movie is it kind of blurs the lines between Roman and Greek mythology, because Hercules is actually Roman mythology, but he's based on a Greek mythology that was called Heracles, and some of the stuff they kind of change around a bit. And then we see a couple then find Hercules and adopt him, and...
Called Amphitryon. Fun fact.
Oh, do you know what that means in English?
Absolutely not, no.
Oh, okay. That's a disappointment.
I just think it's really bizarre. Obviously, I get that it's a Disney film, but if I found a baby on the street, I wouldn't just take it home with me. I don't think.
Well, that's one thing I find weird, is because the mum's like, we pray to the gods for so many years for a child. And it's like, I know this is a kid's movie, but like, where do they think kids come from?
Yeah, that really worries me as well. They'd be the kind of people that'd inject themselves with disinfectant.
We then fast forward to Hercules being an awkward teenager with super strength and destroys the whole town. Yeah, I feel like this was you before you discovered playing rugby, of you just like...
Just not very coordinated with my limbs. I've broken so much stuff at home in the past few weeks because obviously being in isolation and not being able to leave, I've spent more time at home. I broke the decking the other day.
How did you break decking?
Oh, it was really embarrassing. I stood on the end board and I just snapped. So Dad isn't very happy at the moment because the list of jobs is just mounting up because I keep breaking stuff, so I know how Hercules feels.
The important question, is your dad actually Zeus?
He likes to think he is.
Oh, I really hope he's listening to this. Also, I love the bit of the other teenagers calling him Jercules, because I feel like this is the ultimate insult for a kid.
Oh, that wounded him. That is going to need some serious counselling.
We then find out that Hercules finds out he's adopted and actually the son of the gods, and we get the Where I Belong song. I feel like this is a great song for kids and adults, really, because especially kids don't feel like they quite fit in and want to go on this big journey too to kind of discover who they are.
Yeah, I think it's really good that they do follow that sort of adoption story a little bit, because I think sometimes some Disney families and stuff look really perfect, whereas obviously not everybody's lucky enough to have a full family, if that makes sense. So I think that's a really cool bit that Disney do, that he goes on like this little quest to find himself.
Well, it's like the same with like Up, where like you've got the kid, I can't remember his name, but you've got the kid who kind of relates to Russell, that's the one, where he relates to the old man because he doesn't really have parents around, like, and it's like finally him having this adult figure.
Yeah, and and a lot of them as well never have moms either. I think it makes it easier for lots of people to relate to, because sometimes in films families are just portrayed as too perfect, and obviously it's not.
Also, Hercules' reaction to Zeus's statue coming to life is the most accurate thing ever, of like him freaking out, whereas in most Disney movies are like, oh my god, he's come to life, I must be the chosen one, whereas Hercules is like, oh my god, I need to run.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I think I'd have definitely wet myself in the process as well as.
Hercules finds out he has to prove a true hero to become a god again, and he gets to meet Pegasus. And I feel like Pegasus is definitely the friend that every kid wanted.
I would be horrified if a horse licked my face. That is not how you make friendship with me.
Especially a horse, because they have a long tongue.
Oh, horses upset me anyway. When my sister went for an open day round a university, she does horse riding. We were sort of following this group around, and they'd got the ponies out into the stables. And the amount of girls that were kissing these ponies, I was like, you do not know where they've been. They eat salt licks, like, ugh, no. Ugh. That was like 4 years ago, and every now and then I think about it, and I just feel the need to go and brush my teeth for them.
We then see Hercules goes to find Phil, and the bit with him perving on the girls definitely went straight over my head as a kid, which as an adult I'm like, that's really creepy.
I think Danny DeVito makes this movie. They're on about remaking Hercules, and I will not watch it if Danny DeVito is not Phil, because he just embodies that character so well. And I think it's even funnier when you put a photo of Phil next to Danny DeVito. They almost look the same.
Well, I think that's how a lot of people feel, because I know like with the Mulan one, everyone was like, we need Mushu in it, and they're like, we're not having Mushu, and it's like, okay, what's the point of watching it?
Yeah, there's certain characters that you just need, and Danny DeVito is one of them.
And then there's also the bit I find quite interesting where he says Phil wants his hero to be up in the stars. And I find this quite interesting because Hercules is actually a constellation we still have today. And apparently it's been around as a constellation since the 2nd century. Although this constellation actually goes back even further but had a different name. And it goes back to the Babylonians and was called the Standing God, making it over 2,500 years old.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that as well. Gosh, you have done some research.
All right. I just know all these things. Like it's just, general knowledge in my brain.
But general knowledge of how to work Microsoft Teams is not in there.
Jen is making a reference to the fact that it's taken us like an hour to figure out how to record this podcast, and in the end we had to use Microsoft Teams. We then get the training montage of Hercules getting better at being a hero. And this is this where the Go the Distance song is?
No, that was previous, when he goes to find his father.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting, this song, when the sort of activities that Phil gets Hercules to do, that's what some Roman athletes actually used to do. So I think that's really cool that they had that superhuman strength to be able to do it. And that crash test dummy that they use makes me laugh as well, because she absolutely gets beaten up.
Well, I think the only one the Romans didn't do was the bit standing on the post on the beaches, which is the Karate Kid reference bit.
And the punching the shark in the face. I don't think that was probably in the top 10 favourite Roman activities to do either.
Oh, what a disappointment.
The Romans did not know how to live, clearly. But you could punch a shark.
Could. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could.
But where would you punch it? This is what upsets me. Would you punch it in its nose, in between its head? Like, if you were a shark, where would you be really sad to be punched in the face in?
Well, everyone thinks you should punch a shark in the nose, but actually you should go for the gills, because then it will choke a bit and probably swim away.
Oh yeah, because we don't have gills. I punch in the gill.
No, it would be like punching you in the throat, though.
Oh, that's happened to me before, and that does hurt. Okay, final answer for how to punch a shark in the face is punch it in the gill.
I just want to point out, Jen isn't like a fighter or anything. She just plays rugby.
Yeah, I'm not like Mortal Kombat artist or anything. The punch in the throat is probably from my sister, to be honest. We do play fight. We call it rustling because wrestling's banned in our house.
Hercules then finishes training and goes looking for people to save. He runs into Meg and tries to save her, and we get the brilliant line from her of, "I'm a damsel, I'm in distress, I can handle it."
Interestingly, how he meets Meg in Greek mythology, that's how he met his second wife, but I can't remember what her name is. It begins with D. Dorothy.
Dorothy and Hercules.
The most Grecian names you've ever heard ever. Line where she says that I'm a big girl now and I even tie my own sandals. But then it makes me wonder what sandals she's got on, but then I suppose did they have buckles back in the day? Because tie on sandals wouldn't be very practical.
Yeah, and they didn't have ye old Velcro.
That was just a little bit after.
He beats the monster and, of course, instantly falls in love with Meg. And like you say, this is how he met his second wife. One thing I found interesting was that actually Hercules had 4 wives and Meg has characteristics of all 4 of them.
The same. What characteristics? Purple eyes.
I don't know if the purple eyes is one. I know, how he met is his second wife. I think the name comes from his first wife, and then there's bits later on where she saves him was I think what the 3rd or 4th wife did, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Did any of them have tie sandals?
I don't think that's kept in the history books.
See, it should be documented clearer. I want to know what kind of sandals these people had on.
Well, you're the one who studied history, so you're the one who should change these
It's not
things.
the history of sandals. Really, really niche.
Maybe that's where you're going wrong in life.
I'm just going to drop out of law school and go and study the history of sandals. God, that'd be the most boring PhD ever, wouldn't it? Doctor of Laws of sandals.
I feel like everyone would think you have a foot fetish as well.
I absolutely don't. I hate feet. The worst thing you could do is touch me with your bare foot.
See, Hercules goes on to carry on saving people, while we find out that Meg works for Hades. Hercules gets to Thebes, but no one will take him seriously because he has no experience. And this is definitely how every 16-year-old feels trying to apply for a job.
Tell me about it. You need 55 million years of experience, but you can't get experience till somebody gives you a job.
Definitely how we feel as
I like
graduates.
the man. Yeah, even now. I like the man Thebes. It's like, what about sundial? And he's just like a little. It's like the creepy watchman that you see in most films where he's like stood on the corner trying to like sell bootleg DVDs, and this is like the Grecian equivalent.
Buying bootleg sundials.
Yeah.
But then Meg then shows up to tell Hercules about kids being trapped, so he goes with her, and it turns out to be a trap, and this is proof why you shouldn't follow a strange woman.
Strange woman with purple eyes, might I add, and tie-on sandals. That just screams trouble.
You really don't like the purple eyes thing, do you?
Well, I do give my Sims purple eyes, so I don't massively have a problem with it, but just a minor one. But I think I could get over it. I've got more of a problem with the tie-on sandals.
What, you think she should have invested in better sandals?
Yeah. Because later on in the film, she says she's got weak ankles. And you know what they say? A good pair of shoes will see you through.
That's true, but again, this was set like 2,000 years ago.
I suppose she had more pressing issues to worry about other than her foot health.
Well, I guess maybe not, because she's already dead, so...
Well, now she's obviously not bothered about it, but prior, when she was still alive, maybe.
All right, well, when you get your time machine, after you've gone and watched the premiere of Hercules in the cinema, then you can go back and teach her a lesson about shoes.
I'll take her a pair of Clark's comfy shoes.
Take her some Uggs, that'll blow her mind.
Oh no, not the fake Uggs. They won't make you look like you've got club foot or whatever it is when your feet turn in. I was going to say, did you have a pair, but you obviously didn't.
I did not, sadly.
Did you? I had a pair of fake Uggs, and I once went. It was when it was snowing, and we went for like a family walk, and I stupidly wore them, and my feet were wet, and I just kept falling over because there's absolutely no grip at the bottom. It's like a weird foam. So I might as well have just got out in like ice skates, and it was a terrible decision. They went in the bin after that.
Anyway, back to the movie. Hercules... After we've had a 10-minute rant on shoes from Jen.
Yeah, I do seem to have a lot of problems with shoes.
Hercules beats the monster by cutting its head off. Plot twist, it can regrow its heads. And this blew my 6-year-old brain when I saw this.
So cool, the graphics. It took them over a year to animate that scene because how intricate it was to keep creating all the heads and all the body, how it twists and turns, and making sure that you can follow the twist and turn properly. And it took them well over a year for just 4 minutes of the film, but I just think it's such a fantastic scene.
Well, the other thing they do really well as well here is color theory, where they use lots of like lighter colors like whites and light blues and deep reds, and the lighter colors make it feel much colder, and the red gives you a sense of danger, like, which is really well done.
I like that. I think overall it's just such a good animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit on the nose watching it now because like the colors are quite intense, but you don't really see this much in kids' movies. The only other exception really is Up, with like the start of Up, where it's just devastating. They use the color theory quite well there, but other than that, it's not normally used in kids' movies much. Hercules beats the monster by a landslide. Apparently, Phil has all the best puns.
In that section as well, when the kids shout, somebody call, I think it's IXII, that's actually 911. If you took the Roman numerals, that's quite funny. I think that actually they're saying call the police or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick that up for like the first few times that I watched the film. And that's what I think I love about this film, is that there's so many cool references and little hidden Easter eggs almost, that every time you watch it, you do sort of pick up something new. And I really, really like that. And I think a lot of Disney films, they do it really cleverly as well, that every time you watch it, you notice something a little bit different.
Is that why you have to watch these movies thousands of times?
No, that's just because I'm obsessed.
We then get a montage of Hercules being a hero, and we get the Zero to Hero song, which is definitely my favourite.
I love that song. I do pantomimes, and we had that song in panto, and it took us so long to learn because there's so many words. And also the line, one of them finishes like brave and spunk, and everyone was like, why are you singing about spunk in panto? Yeah, I think if that song had been written now, they'd have possibly changed that word, because I don't think it has the same meaning as it did back then.
Probably not.
I feel pretty from West Side Story. One of the lines is like, I feel pretty and witty and gay. But obviously gay meant happy. But now most people, when they hear the word gay, they obviously think about sexuality, to the point where when productions actually do that song, it is changed to happy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I did one in Birmingham about 10 years ago, and they changed that song, which I thought was really bizarre, because, yeah. But anyway.
I know there's something Disney's had a problem with Disney Plus, where I know there's an old movie, I can't remember what it's called, and it's basically
Song
like...
of the South.
Yeah, that's the one, the Songs of the South, and it's all about like racism and stuff, because back then they're like, yeah, this is okay, and it's like, no, it's really not okay.
Yeah, they've got those Jim Crows, and that's what the laws were called for like segregation, the Jim Crow laws. And like Disney sort of depict these kind of characters actually as black crows. A lot of, if you ever watch that film now, it does have a disclaimer at the start saying that this was filmed in an era where these views were more widely accepted, and to watch it with that mindset. But I don't even think they've put it on Disney Plus.
No, I think they said they're never going to do it.
And I think that's a good move. It's good, though, that they've able to recognise that and not sort of try and blot it out their past.
Yeah.
I think's good.
Then we see Hades scheming how to beat Hercules, and I love the line of, maybe I'm not throwing the right curves at him. And Hades really has no limits here.
In this scene, I love the reference they make to Air Jordans, the Nike shoe. I'd love a pair of those sandals. I'm back on the sandals again. Pain and Panic have got Hercules merchandise, and one of them's got a hurricane cup, and one of them's got these really cool sandals, if Nike did Grecian sandals. And I just think they should make them into real life shoes, because I'd never take them off.
I think that should be a business you could start.
Start my own Hercules sandals.
Yeah, why not?
No, I think I love that scene where he gets really angry at them, and he's like, I'm trying to hear the plot and you're wearing his merchandise. And you can just hear one of them with the cup like... I think that'd be me.
It definitely shows why they're the best henchmen.
They're so useless. I like that they're not completely used. I'd say they're more lazy, and I think a lot of people can relate to it. Whereas if they were like completely incompetent, then sometimes they're just, I don't know, you don't relate to it as well, but they just do the bare minimum to get by, and that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. We then see Hercules thinks he's ready to join the gods, but he isn't actually a true hero yet. And this kind of shows kids that just because you're rich and popular doesn't mean that you're good at what you do. And as we find out later, it's actually about being selfless that's more important. And again, I think this is quite a good message to kind of show in a kids' movie.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's really interesting because people think that success is having lots of money and being rich and famous, and actually it's not. It's more important the things you do,
especially like in today's like YouTube and like Instagram world, where it's all about how many followers and likes and stuff you get, and it's just like, just because you've got 1 million subscribers doesn't mean you're good at what you do.
Exactly. I follow a lot of travel blogs. I like reading them and getting holiday inspiration, and I actually find the ones that don't have that many follows are so much better and way more helpful than the ones that have loads of follows. A lot of the stuff they post as well is so photoshopped and you'd never be able to achieve it, whereas I like the lesser known ones because it's stuff that you can do yourself.
Meg shows up to corrupt Hercules into skipping training, and my mother was right about beautiful women leading you astray.
especially ones with weak ankles. But that would have been solved if she'd had proper shoes on.
She tries to find his weakness, but turns out that he's perfect. And I love how Hercules just like stays the perfect gentleman and just gets scared of her like advances.
I like that bit too. He's just absolutely partly oblivious, and then when he realizes what's happening, he's like, "Oh God, I've got to get out." And I really like the bit where Pegasus comes flying in with Phil, because Hercules has snuck out to go and see Meg, and Pegasus's like little feathery things are flapping around his head, and then they've got a little beacon on like a police helicopter, and I just think that's so funny. That's such a typical parent thing to do if you've snuck out. And then now, obviously, my parents didn't come and get me on a flying horse with a police siren, but very similar. Dad and his Volvo was very similar.
Yeah, I think I do really like in this movie like the modern references, like you say, like when they're call 911, and it's like, yeah, like the parents showing up on a helicopter, like.
Well, when the muses sing the song with Meg just after this scene, that won't say I'm in love, part of it there, it's just their heads singing, and that's actually reference to the heads in the Haunted Mansion ride in Disney.
Oh, really?
You know, just the busts. Yeah, that's a reference as well. So I think, like we said before, this film is just so fantastic with all the little references that you don't necessarily pick up the first time.
And then we got, Phil shows up and Hercules goes to train, but Phil falls off and gets knocked out. And we have Meg singing I Won't Say I'm in Love, which again is a great song. I watched this movie yesterday, and like I didn't get any of the songs stuck in my head. And then when I went to bed, I had Phil's song, where it's like "You're My Last Hope" song. I had that stuck in my head as I was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, ah.
I've been trying to get the CD for my car. They're so expensive and really hard to find, but I think that'd just be the best driving song on my way to a rugby match to get myself pumped with Zero to Hero. Most people listen to like heavy rock or like a bit of drum and bass to really get them going, and there's just me tooting along in my little Fiat 500 with Hercules.
Oh my God, you should get like a Pegasus name badge for your car.
I'll just put some wings on my car. Pimp my ride Hercules style.
Hades shows up to find out what she's found, and Phil wakes up to find out that she works for Hades. Phil then tries to tell Hercules the truth, but he won't listen. Hades shows up and makes a deal with Hercules for him to give up his strength in exchange for Meg's freedom, and then we find out that Meg worked for him all along. And this was like heartbreaking again to watch as like a kid, and even now, like it's just like, oh, poor Hercules.
I also feel bad for Meg as well, though, because I suppose she had no choice. But when he takes his strength and then throws those dumbbells on him and he can't even get up, I'm like, oh, that's how I feel. When Henry's trying to tell Hercules that Meg is fake, one of the lines was about you fall along with her in a big blue eyes or something like that. But that line was recorded before they'd finished animating the film, and obviously Meg has purple eyes, so they had to re-record that bit in its big goo eyes. Yeah.
Is that why you hate the purple eyes, just because they changed that one line?
No, I don't hate the purple eyes, but would she have looked nicer with blue? I don't know. Jury's out on that one.
I suppose they were probably trying to move away from the stereotypical like princess with blue eyes.
True. I do like her hair. Her hair is very sassy.
Well, she's just sassy in general, isn't she?
Yeah. I like the fact that she's quite independent, because like you said, a lot of the Disney princesses sometimes are very damselly in distress, whereas she's quite proactive in sorting it out. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think if she was a real person, we would have been friends.
Yeah, that's definitely something like the whole damsel in distress thing with princesses, like the Disney movies are only just getting away from. I'd say like things like Tangled and Frozen are the ones that have kind of really like got away from it now.
Yeah, I love Brave, where my mum's like, don't dare shoot that arrow, and she just bing, and she shoots it. That's my cat. Don't dare scratch that sofa, and she just has to do it.
Yeah, but I feel like she's also the same when you're trying to put a costume on her, and she's like, don't you dare put that costume on me, and you're like, do it anyway.
Or when you have to look after me when I'm drunk.
Oh, we won't even go there.
That is a whole podcast on its own.
Yeah, definitely. Hades unleashes the Titans to kill Zeus. And I love the bit where the Titans go the wrong way. It's like the whole point of Mount Olympus is it's the only mountain around and it's hard to miss, but the Titans still miss it.
I think that's so funny. I love that bit. That'd be me though. I'd definitely end up going the wrong way. I'm not very good with direction.
Just be happy having a rampage and be like, oh wait, wrong way.
My bad. Although the Cyclops that Hades picks out to go and take on Hercules is very ugly, and he has horrible toenails.
How do you feel about his foot choice?
Well, he's got none. But you'd have thought that if he'd been walking around barefoot, like he'd have had, I don't know, would his toenails still belong, or would he have like worn them down?
We'll never know.
They might look nice. They're painted, but I think that takes away the whole supposed to be a scary monster, and he has like a little pedicure.
Hercules then tries to fight the one-eyed monster without his strength, while Meg gets Phil to give him a pep talk. Hercules beats him, but is almost crushed by a pillar, and Meg pushes him out of the way and gets crushed. And this movie just has so many twists and turns, especially for a kid's movie.
I like this bit where Hercules has to fight him without his strength, because I think that really shows the metal of Hercules, that he is a true hero, that okay, he doesn't have strength, but he sort of outwits him with logic when he wraps a rope around his feet and ties him up. And I think that's really, really cool, because I think that shows another side of Hercules and shows him how he is a true god.
Are you smashing up your laptop during this?
Yeah, I did kick table. I was hoping that was clearly I did not get away.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like, it shows that there's so much more to Hercules than just him being a strong guy.
Yeah, that he's really taken on board the lessons with Phil, and it's not just picking up things and lifting heavy stuff. It's actually tactics as well, which I enjoy and applaud him on.
Hercules then gets his strength back and frees the gods and defeats the Titans. And it's just like, is there anything that he can't do?
Well, I like how Meg gets so when Meg gets injured, that's how he gets his strength back, because his deal with Hades was that if Meg is harmed, then the deal breaks. And I am currently studying contract law at the moment, and I think that is just really, really cool, that little contract.
It's an airtight contract, isn't it?
And I like it is. And I like when he goes to the go and confront Hades, and that's how he retrieves Meg's body out of the river of death. And I like that he's riding the three-headed dog. He sort of made it his own. Although I would not be riding the three-headed dog, I would have ran away at this point.
Well, the other thing as well I really like in like this whole kind of ending bit is Pegasus blowing out Hades' hair, and like it's just made me laugh so much.
He's like, oh, is my hair out? He does look really weird without a flaming head. He looks like how a lot of people currently look in isolation when they've taken the clippers to their own hair. Weird and bold.
Yeah.
I like when Pegasus is beating up Pain and Panic, and he's using them basically as like punching on a string. I don't know what it's called, like those little toys. Like, do you remember those little balls you had that got like a sucker on the end, and then it got like a cable thing, and you could like punch them?
Yeah, I know the ones you mean, but I don't know what they're called.
I don't know what although some of them are like balloons, and they've got like things in it making noise when you punch them.
But yeah, basically, Meg dies, and Hercules won't let death stop him, so he goes into the lake and makes a deal with Hades to save her. But at the last minute, he gets turned into a god for being a true hero. And then, yeah, we see Hercules goes to take his place with the gods, but finds out that Meg can't go with him, so he rejects it, and we get a happy ending for everyone. And
then we get the absolute banger of a tune, A Star Is Born. I like the ending bit. So he punches Hades in the face when he emerges from the river of death as a god, and then Hades ends up in the river himself, and obviously all the souls sort of clamber on him and pull him down, and Pain and Panic are like, you're going to be so mad when he gets out of there, if he gets out of here. And it sort of like references back to the start when then they say that Hades is going to be really mad, and when he finds out that they didn't kill Hercules, one of them says if. And yeah, I think that sums up those two. Bare minimum. Love it.
Yeah. Well, even they get a happy ending, because it's like Hades is gone. They can be happy now.
They can continue being really, really terrible at life.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Hercules. Well, how do you feel about them making a live action Hercules movie then, after the many times you've watched this?
Will they have the songs in? I think the songs really make it. I don't know. I really don't know, because I think the songs go well, the actors and the voices they've got in it, and it's quite funny. Whereas Hercules has been done a lot in other different films. I don't know. It's a bit more of a harder story, I think, to swallow. Whereas Disney's made it fun. As long as Danny DeVito's in it, I think I'll give it a go. But I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think the Mulan one's probably a good one to look at because that's kind of gone the same way where it's gone from animated to like live action with people and stuff. And it seems to be they're hinting at they're going to have some of the songs, but then also not all of them. And they're also not going to have fan favorite characters like Mushu, which is just like, why?
Yeah, I think I will miss Mushu. Have you seen the Dumbo live action remake?
No, I haven't.
That's actually really good how they've done that. I actually think I prefer that to the original animated. But the scene with the pink elephants, they still sort of have that in the film, but they've done it really cleverly. Yeah, I enjoyed Dumbo. Danny DeVito's in that, so you can have your daily Danny DeVito intake.
The other thing I found out when I was researching my notes for this movie, apparently in the Spanish versions of Hercules, Hercules is played by Ricky Martin.
Ah, delightful. I like a bit of Ricky Martin.
Like, can you imagine?
I always forget Spanish.
Can you imagine, like, if instead of like Zero to Hero, it was like Live and La Vida Loca?
And Puss in Boots comes out.
And then my other trivia that I have is that the directors of this movie also did basically all of my childhood. They did Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and Treasure Planet, and then also more recently did Moana.
I love Treasure Planet. That is in my top 5 favourite Disney's. Treasure Planet is. And I don't think many people have watched it. I remember playing the game on the PlayStation 1, and I've recently bought a PlayStation 1 and I've ordered the Hercules game, so I'm very excited for that to come.
I was about to ask you about that because I used to play that when I was a kid.
No, it's on its way.
Okay.
That and Mary Kate and Ashley Magical Mall Mystery.
Oh, it sounds like you're going to have a great lockdown.
In isolation, well. Yeah. Most people have used it to work on themselves, and I'm just here playing really bad children games.
No. Is there anything that I've missed that you kind of want to add in about Hercules?
I think it's really sad that Disney don't acknowledge Hercules as much as they should. Even like when you go to Disneyland and Disney World and all those parks, it's not really there. Like, you don't really have Hercules in the parades. You can't really get any merchandise with him on it. But I don't get why, because the cast of characters is just phenomenal. Like, who's in it. And then the songs are really good. Like, I think it's such a hit, and there is more stuff coming out now. So the Disney store started selling things. So there was a cap, a hoodie, and a mug. So I bought the hoodie and the mug. I didn't get a cap because I thought that would be a bit too far. But yeah, and Primark actually did some Hercules pajamas a few months ago, and oh my god, as soon as I had my first lunch break where I could go and get them, I pegged it to the shop, pushed several people out the way. I needed those pajamas.
I wonder if it's maybe because of like things like Frozen and stuff have been such a success since then that like Hercules has almost been forgotten about, and maybe that's why they're trying to do like the live action one.
Possibly. I think as well, I do think Disney princesses do draw a lot, and I don't think necessarily when there is the main character's a boy, sometimes I don't think it pulls as well. That's just my opinion.
Well, you think especially
but even
like
then, carry on, sorry.
I was gonna say, like, especially like back in the 90s when this came out, Disney was more aimed at princesses and like young girls, whereas like as a boy, like it wasn't like, you know, I want to watch every Disney movie because it was like, oh no, they're about princesses. Whereas now things have changed.
Yeah, I'd have thought that Hercules would have really appealed to young boys because he's strong and he can do these cool things. But
yeah, anyway, that's our Hercules podcast. I just want to say thank you to Jen for coming on and sharing her Hercules knowledge.
No problem. Thank you for asking me. Those millions of hours I've spent watching the film has clearly paid off.
Do you want to give a shout out to anyone or anything before you go?
This has put me on the spot. Possibly my cat. She's put up with isolation very well. So shout out to my cat.
Okay, I'm going to give a shout out to the llamas that live at the bottom of my road because I hope they're doing well in isolation.
The llamas?
Yeah, there's 2.
Oh, What are their names?
I don't know.
Did you not ask?
No, I've never met the owners. I've only met the llamas.
Oh, do you think it'll be like Emperor's New Groove?
What? Those llamas are actually secretly emperors?
Yeah. Can you just name one of them Cusco to make me happy?
Sure. So, next episode's podcast will be Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I know this episode was supposed to be Deadpool, but I've kind of lost my DVD for it, so that's why we did Hercules, and Jen was free to talk about Hercules too. And yeah, we'll do Deadpool at some point. I figure instead we'll go very British, and it's kind of similar but like much older and not adult at all, with Wallace and Gromit. If you've never seen Wallace and Gromit at all, basically Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit is like the third movie, but you don't need to have watched the other ones. The other ones are only like 10-20 minutes long, they're very short, and it's like stop motion, so similar to like Kubo and the Two Strings, but it's like the original, and it's from like the 90s, and basically Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit is from like 2003, I think, and basically it's just this guy and his dog that go on like adventures. In this, it's all about they have a company that stops rabbits from eating vegetables, and then there's a giant were-rabbit that's terrorizing the town that comes out when there's a full moon. It's very silly, very funny, and I think it's a really good movie to watch and kind of see how things were done with stop motion, especially because it's such a slow process. But yeah, it's just a fun movie. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.